This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
If you live in the Sacramento area, you have probably been pitched solar. Your door has probably been knocked not once, not twice, but probably 8 different times. And you're wondering, what the heck? Why are these people just banging on my door? I want real answers, but I don't know you. I don't trust you. And besides, all the solar incentives are gone. You're just here trying to get money out of my pocket. Well, if you want to hear from somebody who knows exactly what's happening in solar today, who is trustworthy, who has a track record of success, then stay tuned in because we have Shawn Davis with SolarWise with us today. Shawn, please tell us that there are still some incentives out there for people looking to get into solar.
Johnny, thank you so much. Yeah, there's definitely still incentives, and I'll talk about those in just a moment. But yeah, don't be concerned that they've gone away. That they've actually never been better. So effectively, in late 2022, President Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Act. Okay, and so that act actually changed some of the incentives that were available for solar because several of them were set to expire. And so I think there's probably somebody listening right now that thought the tax credit benefit may have expired. Mm-hmm. So in that Inflation Reduction Act, they took the tax credit benefit that you have for buying a solar system and increased it to 30% across the board through 2032. So what that basically means is there's a big difference between something that gives you a tax credit benefit and something that gives you a tax deduction benefit. For the benefit of your audience, I'll illuminate. So, for example, if somebody's listening right now and they claim mortgage interest deductions, or if they put money into a 401k, for example. Let's say a husband and wife are working, they make $100,000 a year, they're funding their 401ks $10,000. So effectively, they get a shelter of that $10,000, deduct it from their $100,000 income, and all Uncle Sam sees is maybe $90,000 of income. So if they're in a 35% tax bracket, they save $3,500 for putting that money in a tax-deferred vehicle like a retirement plan. That's a tax deduction benefit. Solar enjoys a tax credit. A tax credit is a dollar-for-dollar offset of taxes owed. I like to say, depending on your tax liability, it's 2 to 3 times more valuable than something that would give you a tax deduction. So let me give you an example. Let's say somebody listening right now has a liability of $20,000 on their income. They paid $20,000, so when they go to file their taxes, they don't owe anything. They don't get a refund. Everything's copacetic. Now, that same example, let's say somebody buys a $30,000 solar incentive, or excuse me, a $30,000 solar system. That $30,000 solar system would enjoy a 30% federal income tax credit benefit. 30% of $30,000 is $9,000. So effectively, in that example, homeowner paid $20,000 of withholdings, owed $20,000, no refund, no benefit. The $9,000 from the solar system replaces $9,000 of their withholding, thereby giving them a $9,000 refund because they bought the solar system.
Wow.
So most people that are listening could enjoy that benefit either in the form of reduced taxes owed, if you're in a situation where you normally owe, or getting a bigger refund, or maybe some combination of the two. Maybe I was going to owe $3,000 in tax, but now because I bought the solar system, I don't owe the $3,000, and I'm getting back $6,000. Now, let me be very clear, because a lot of, and I mean this pun, Johnny.
Okay.
There's a lot of shady folk in solar.
Oh, gosh. Dad joke.
There's a lot of shady folk in solar. And so there's a lot of people out there in my industry that try to make homeowners think that this is a rebate. There's a difference between a rebate and a tax credit.
Oh my gosh, my head's spinning. We got deductions, credits, and now we're in rebates.
Yeah, so here's the material difference, and it's meaningful, so that's why I want to explain it. A rebate, every purchaser that buys a product that has a rebate gets that rebate. They get a check in the mail. Mm-hmm. The only people that can enjoy a tax credit benefit are people that have a tax liability. So if somebody's listening right now and maybe their only source of income is Social Security and they have very little tax liability, if any tax liability, having a $9,000 tax credit is like having a coupon for an item that they never plan to purchase or can't purchase. It's not valuable to them. Mm-hmm. So that's why I make the distinction. It's not a rebate, but it is a tax credit. So stated simply, if you pay taxes or have a tax liability of any thing, then that tax credit from purchasing solar would be an advantage to you. So that's incentive number one. You get this 30% federal income tax credit benefit. But some people that are listening right now, you may have some folks in a rural part of Placer County, El Dorado County. I want to talk to the mountain folks out there, the people that are in the trees. So currently, California has a self-generation incentive program. They call it, coincidentally, SGIP, Self-Generation Incentive Program. And so what this program is for is people that live in a CPUC, which is the California Public Utilities Commission, high fire threat district. So there's an actual map online. You look at the map. RU is your property in a CPUC high fire threat district. If so, and now I want you to hear the and, okay? And you're a medical baseline customer with PG&E. If you have those two things, my house is in an area that's prone to wildfire damage, and I'm a medical baseline customer with PG&E.
What do you mean by that, medical baseline?
It means that you have medical equipment inside the home that you would be put at a disadvantage if you lost power. So medical equipment inside the home could be a CPAP machine, could be sleep apnea, could be an oxygen breather, could be motorized wheelchair. There's several different qualifiers, but if somebody has medical equipment inside the home that would be putting them at a disadvantage if they lost power, there's a program through PG&E that they can get part of called Medical Baseline. So if somebody's in a high fire threat district and a Medical Baseline customer with PG&E, they're eligible to receive up to $26,000 worth of Tesla Powerwalls at no out-of-pocket cost to them.
Wow.
So imagine 27 kilowatt hours of storage in a Tesla Powerwall, retail value $26,000. They pay nothing for it as part of the solar system if they're medical baseline and live in a CPUC defined high fire threat district. And we have that information available at our office. So if anybody's interested in understanding or learning if they qualify for that benefit, all they have to do is text SOLAR, SOLAR, to 84503. Again, text SOLAR to 84503, and we can help you to determine whether or not you might be eligible for that free battery incentive. Lastly, I want to say that the one last program that I want to say that's available today, this is new, 5-6 months old. There's a company out of Florida called NextEra Energy. They're the third largest utility in the nation. They own Florida Light and Power. They heard about the shenanigans going on in Northern California and PG&E territory. They heard about the outrageous pricing, and they want to come into California and compete with PG&E for homeowner business in California. And they can't, because PG&E is a monopoly and they own the utility grid of Northern California, NextEra can't compete with them traditionally, but PG&E doesn't own sunlight. They don't own the sun. So what NextEra is doing is they're installing a solar system for a homeowner at no out-of-pocket cost to the homeowner, ground mount or roof mount, giving them one of the smartest, most technologically advanced batteries available today. All of that at no out-of-pocket cost to the homeowner. Homeowner doesn't have to pay for permitting, inspections, labor, equipment, anything. All the homeowner has to agree to do is buy the energy that solar system will generate, and that energy is meaningfully cheaper than PG&E's energy cost. Most people listening right now in PG&E territory are paying in the daytime about 40 cents a kilowatt hour for their energy. In the evening or afternoon time, tier 2, they're paying about 60 cents. This program starts 18 to 24 cents. Most of our clients are seeing a 35% at a minimum, up to 75% or more savings versus PG&E for a system they didn't have to finance, that they didn't have to write a check for, that they didn't have to buy. So that's one of our best incentive programs available. What
about rate increases with NextEra?
Yeah, so they do have rate increases, but in case you were living under a rock, PG&E's had a 13% rate increase on January 1st.
Sure.
And then they got another 18, I think, coming in March. This program is absolutely capped at no greater than a 3.5% rate increase per year. So for context, because a lot of people think 3.5%, that's something, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think most people that are listening in PG&E territory right now are going to see their utility bills double in the next 5 to 7 years, and then double again another 5 to 7 years after that. At 3.5%, Johnny, it's going to take somebody 22 years before that bill is doubled. So a lot slower growth. And I take comfort in it. Retirees right now, their income isn't going up 13, 18, 20 plus %, but they're probably getting a 3.5% cost of living adjustment. So that's at least something that protects them from what PG&E is doing, because currently PG&E doesn't have a cap. I think that's more jeopardizing than being locked into a 3.5% rate growth per year. Absolutely,
without a doubt. And so you mentioned it's ground or roof mount. So is this available in urban and rural areas?
Yes, absolutely.
Is there any place it's not available?
There's no place it's not available. There's just some places where it might not make sense. Mm-hmm. So, for example, in our local area, the cheapest energy of Northern California is Roseville. Roseville is the cheapest energy. Roseville comes in under 18 cents a kilowatt hour now. Their highest charge is about 11. So, for somebody living in Roseville, it might not make sense to go this program, but definitely people that can hear us in SMUD territory for electricity and PG&E territory for electricity, definitely a savings opportunity for them.
Got it. Yeah, man. I used to live in Roseville, or have Roseville Electric, and I wish I could and I'm just one street over right now. Just one street over from Roseville. I wish I could just run an electrical cable over to my neighbor's house and just plug on in.
Well, you mentioned somebody moving from Roseville to PG&E, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like somebody moving from Mexico to Dubai and seeing a price difference and a lifestyle difference and all that other stuff. PG&E is I think, near as I can tell, 6 to 7 times more expensive than Roseville Electric.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, I heart Roseville. Fun fact, Valerie and I actually traveled all 50 states. Valerie and I my wife Valerie, we hit all 50 states trying to figure out where we wanted to live, and we actually settled on Roseville. So we didn't realize, we knew when we moved that we were one street over, but we're like in Roseville, but not in Roseville. But like, oh my gosh, there's another plus for Roseville.
Yep.
But you mentioned there's no cost for them to install this ground or roof mount. Are they installing enough energy to zero cost the utilities, or what's the plan there?
So back to that whole net energy metering discussion that we talked about, NEM 2 versus NEM 3.
Yeah.
NEM 2, when PG&E would give you a full value credit for the excess energy that the system produced, it's entirely possible for a NEM 2 customer to mitigate their PG&E bill. Today in NEM 3, because of that 75% reduced benefit for the excess energy, because every solar system is going to generate excess energy that's used, that's created beyond what the homeowner's using inside the home. So because now that energy is 75% reduced and you need batteries to store it, it's much more difficult to zero out your PG&E bill. So today solar is about spending the smartest money possible to make the biggest impact in that bill. Solar will be cheaper than just renting your power from PG&E, but don't have an unrealistic expectation that we can eliminate the PG&E bill. What you want to do now is mitigate it by 70%, 80%, 90%. That's the goal today. But if you build a system that's too big, then it's like spending an extra $1 to get a 10-cent benefit. It doesn't make sense to you to do those. So that's why you really need somebody that's knowledgeable, that's smart, that's intelligent, that can help you understand how big of a system you need. What you don't need is an 18 to 22-year-old door knocker trying to tell you how big your system needs to be.
Yeah, that's paid on commission by the size. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So the point is they're not just going to throw some rinky-dink little system on there and then you're going to be paying them and paying PG&E.
No, the size of the system isn't dependent on NextEra or the program's author. The size of the system is dependent on the homeowner. That's why I say one of the hardest questions I get on my radio show is people go, hey, Shawn, I got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It's 1,800 square foot. How much is solar going to cost me? And I'm like, you just gave me no materially beneficial information to the solar equation, right? Tell me what your temperature preferences are in the summer. Tell me how many people live there. Tell me, whether you work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, both you and your spouse. I mean, it's a lot more complex than that. Utility usage is individual, right? It's very personal. What are your methods of comfort inside your home and how much energy does it take to achieve that? That's what we want to know, and that's how you properly size a system.
My method is, am I comfortable? And then I get those utility bills from PG&E that are like energy shaming me, for lack of a better term, like,
yes,
hey, this is where you should be, this is where you are, you horrible human being, reduce your energy utility.
Well, there's people that have lived in the state long enough to know that comfortable electricity used to be affordable. You used to be able to live your life how you wanted to live your life, and you just dealt with the bill. But now the bill has got so caustically expensive, in addition to everything else, that you can't live life way any longer. You got to pay attention. You got to be now like the light monitor or the refrigerator monitor. You got to yell at your kids because you don't want to get that $800 utility bill in the mail, right?
Yep.
So that's unfortunate. And I think that's a travesty. I think that's the thing that really is unfortunate, that people work their tails off to enjoy some relaxation, respite, renewal inside their house, and many of them are suffering in silence because they can't afford the electricity.
Absolutely. Yep, it's horrible. And then, but let's circle back to this NextEra thing, because I think this is, I mean, I personally know somebody that we referred over to you who's in the process of getting this installed, and they're so excited. But NextEra, they're going to install the solar. Are you able to pair that if you meet the criteria with the Tesla battery?
Oh yeah. You can. Well, let me qualify it. There's a battery that comes with the system. Currently, the NextEra program does not allow a Tesla battery to be paired to it, because what they want is they want the most bulletproof infrastructure available. I love Tesla. I own a car, but if you look online at Tesla Energy, their ratings are horrendous. You know, oftentimes you'll see a 1-star, 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 and I think it's a combination of their customer service. I think it's a combination of Elon's focus. I mean, here's Elon Musk. What's his priority right now? Is it Twitter? Is it Tesla? Is it SpaceX? Is it Neuralink? It isn't is Tesla Energy. That's way down on the list. If he's going to mine lithium, he's going to use it to sell more Tesla cars. He's not going to prioritize putting it into the Tesla batteries. So it's hard to get inventory. It's hard to get supply. And then they've had a spotty record. So currently the NextEra program uses the best battery that's available in solar today. That's an in-phase, in-charge 10. It's a cost savings battery. It's specifically purposed to be paired with that system to save money versus PG&E and push that excess energy that's saved throughout the day into the home in the nighttime when the solar isn't working.
So you're not only getting solar, but you're also getting a battery?
Oh, yeah. Solar and a battery.
Oh, that's
part
fantastic.
Of the system. Yes.
I didn't realize that. That's even better. Cool. And so, well, that wraps up this segment. If you guys are looking to get more incentives, if you're looking to save money and move towards solar, how should they reach out to you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Right now, we've got some of the strongest incentives available. I've got a white paper that I'll give to everybody that responds to this number. If you text SOLAR, one word, SOLAR, to 84503, my team will send out the latest 2024 incentives that outlines everything that we've talked about today. All of that information is available simply by picking up your smartphone right now and texting SOLAR to 84503.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shawn.
Shawn Davis here, radio show host and, more importantly, solar broker. And I'm reaching out to those of you that are frustrated with the fact that your utility bills in PG&E territory keep rising. The only option you have for saving money, the only option for taking control of your energy future is solar. As a solar broker owning a company called SolarWise, I would encourage you to reach out to us. Let us help you explore solar. Our pledge is to give you 5 or 6 quotes from 5 or 6 different companies. So if you text SOLAR to 84503, we'll see if we can help you save money.